It's the question every fan is asking and the concern that's looming larger with every passing week. The rotation has been battered, the bullpen stretched thin, and the injuries just keep piling up. But now, the team is finally lifting the curtain on how they're planning to fight back. Behind closed doors, there's a detailed strategy unfolding, one built on medical breakthroughs, bold roster moves, and long-term vision. This isn't just about getting through the next few games, it's about saving an entire season before it slips away. If you've been wondering when the tide will turn and how this pitching crisis will be solved, you're in the right place. We're breaking down every move, every plan, and every glimmer of hope in this unfolding battle. The Los Angeles Dodgers just can't seem to catch a break this season. From opening day all the way into early June, it's been a wild ride filled with high expectations, frustrating setbacks, and a whole lot of roster shuffling. The 2025 season was supposed to be one of dominance, especially with the off-season splash signings and a revamped pitching staff. But what the team envisioned hasn't exactly played out the way they hoped, at least, not yet. The Dodgers are still very much in the hunt, still incredibly dangerous on paper, but there's no denying that injuries have become the headline story of their year. Let's start with the big picture. As of early June, the Dodgers have placed a staggering 15 pitchers on the injured list. That's not a typo, 15. It's been a rotation carousel and bullpen bingo week after week, and somehow, the Dodgers are still managing to stay competitive. That alone speaks volumes about the depth of this team and the front office's ability to stay calm under pressure. Now, let's zoom in on some of the key players who've been affected. One of the most important names on this list is Tyler Glasnow. The towering right-hander was brought in to be a cornerstone of the rotation after an impressive stint in Tampa Bay, and early in the season, he looked like just that. But then came shoulder discomfort, a phrase that sends chills down the spine of any baseball fan. Fortunately for Dodgers supporters, Glasnow has resumed his throwing program and has gone on record saying he feels totally fine. That's a big relief. If his recovery stays on track, the Dodgers could get him back at a critical point in the season when they need stability in the rotation more than ever. Then there's Evan Phillips. This one stings. The bullpen ace had been a lights-out closer and one of the most dependable arms in late innings for Los Angeles. Unfortunately, he underwent Tommy John surgery on June 4, which officially ended his season. That's a crushing blow, not just for this year but for next season too, depending on how his rehab progresses. The loss of Phillips forced the Dodgers to scramble for bullpen help, and they moved quickly to address the issue. One of the most notable moves the Dodgers made to offset that loss was acquiring reliever Alexis Diaz from the Cincinnati Reds. This was a smart play. Diaz brings proven closing experience, a nasty arsenal, and the kind of fearless mentality you want from someone coming out of the bullpen in tight spots. It's the kind of move that shows the front office isn't content with waiting around for players to get healthy. They're acting now, trying to patch holes before they get too deep. But the story isn't all grim. There's some good news on the rehab front. Blake Snell, the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner, has been out dealing with shoulder inflammation. He's now in a throwing progression and could be back soon if things continue trending in the right direction. That's a potential game changer. Getting Snell back would not only stabilize the rotation, it would also take pressure off the bullpen and younger arms that have been stretched to their limits. Another exciting name to watch is Roki Sasaki. The Japanese phenom arrived with a lot of buzz and hype, and while his MLB debut was delayed due to injury, he's now also in the throwing phase of his recovery. Sasaki's stuff is electric triple-digit fastballs, nasty breaking pitches, and a fearless presence on the mound. If he can get healthy and contribute down the stretch, the Dodgers could be adding a secret weapon to their arsenal at just the right time. And then, of course, there's Shohei Ohtani. Even though he's not pitching yet, Ohtani has still been an absolute superstar with the bat. He's been everything the Dodgers hoped for offensively, delivering home runs, clutch hits, and a commanding presence in the lineup. But what fans are really waiting for is his return to the mound. Ohtani is building up his pitching workload behind the scenes, with a post-All-Star break return to the rotation looking increasingly likely. That could be the spark that completely shifts the Dodgers' trajectory for the second half of the season. A healthy Shohei Ohtani towing the rubber every 5 or 6 days? That's nightmare fuel for the rest of the National League. But pitching isn't the only area the Dodgers have had to adjust. Their position player depth has also come into focus as the trade deadline creeps closer. One name that keeps popping up is Dalton Rushing. The rookie catcher has done well in limited opportunities this season, batting .273 with 1 home run and 7 RBIs over just 23 plate appearances. That's a small sample size, sure, but it's been enough to get other teams interested. However, according to insider Ken Rosenthal, the Dodgers have no plans to move Rushing at the trade deadline. And honestly, that makes a lot of sense. Rushing isn't just a backup to Will Smith, he's viewed as a long-term asset, someone who could potentially take on a much bigger role down the line. With Smith under team control for a few more years, there's no rush to move on from either of them, but in an era where catching depth is gold, keeping Rushing around is a smart long-term investment. Still, with the deadline approaching, don't be surprised if the Dodgers get creative. Injuries often force teams into action, and this front office has never shied away from bold moves. Whether it's packaging prospects for a frontline starter or adding bullpen reinforcements, the Dodgers will absolutely be active. But what's interesting this year is the balancing act. They're trying to stay competitive now while also protecting their future. That's not easy to do when your roster keeps getting hit by injuries, but they're finding a way. One move that reflects this strategic juggling act is the signing of a former Detroit Tigers pitcher who, interestingly enough, was originally drafted by the Dodgers back in 2015 but didn't sign at the time. Now he's back in the fold, providing much-needed depth as the team tries to patch together a functioning pitching staff. This type of signing doesn't always grab headlines, but it matters. In a season where the difference between winning and losing could come down to who's ready to take the ball on a Tuesday in June, depth is everything. Luis Garca is another name who's recently joined the ever-growing list of injured pitchers. The right-handed reliever was placed on the injured list with a right adductor strain, retroactive to May 29. Garca had been a serviceable bullpen arm, and while the injury isn't expected to be season-ending, it's yet another speed bump for a team that's had more than its fair share. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Dodgers' current situation, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Dodgers will overcome these injuries and make a serious playoff run? Who should they target at the trade deadline? Let us know, and be sure to share this video with your fellow baseball fans. We've got plenty more coverage coming your way, so stay tuned and stay locked in.